part of my balance series, and for this video we're going to focus on the feet and ankles, which have a really important role to play in good balance. For good balance we need to have feet and ankles that can move well and really give us feedback of where we are in space. So this is our system of proprioception, our unconscious ability to feel where we are in space. And the feet and ankles are giving a huge amount of feedback to our brain on what's happening and where we are in space. So we need our feet to be pliable and strong and have mobility and strength in our ankles as well. So the first thing we're going to do is take 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, your hips facing down the front of your mat, and we're focusing on the back foot, starting to lift up onto your tiptoes, keeping the toes down and feeling a hinge at the base of your toes as you lift your heel up, and then slowly pressing the heel back down. Going up, feeling the hinge at the base of the toes, slowly pressing the heel back down. You might feel some stretch in the calf and the Achilles. Finding a smooth rhythm and noticing how that feels for your toes and your feet, whether it's unfamiliar, maybe a little bit of discomfort might be there. So just starting to feel some pliability in the sole of your foot and the base of your toes. And when you've got used to that movement, we're going to add on rolling over the tops of the toes, pressing the top of the foot down into the mat, bending your knees. So feeling some sensations in the top of the foot, rolling back over the toes, pushing down through the heel. So you might need to adjust how far apart to have your feet. Rolling over and slowly pushing all the way back. If it's really uncomfortable rolling over the tops of your toes, you can almost just step them over and then pressing as much of the top of the foot down into the mat. And hopefully you can feel how you're really moving through the whole sole of the foot, the top of the foot, your ankle, and finding some movement in the bones of the foot as well. Okay, let's swap sides. Squaring your hips. Already you might feel the body finding center and balancing. Coming up onto the toes, pressing the toes down into the mat, slowly putting the heel down to the mat. A few times, smooth rhythm. Just noticing sensations all along your foot, ankle and lower leg. And when that movement starts to feel familiar, see how it feels to roll over the toes onto the top of your foot and bending. If it starts to feel wobbly, it can be handy to have a chair or a wall there at any point. Feeling that hinge at the base of the toes, all that movement in your ankle and the lower leg. Okay, I'm going to do a similar movement in a slightly different position. So coming into a tabletop position, reach one leg out behind you, and same thing, I'm going to push out through the heel, roll over the toes onto the top of the foot. If you keep your knee very straight, firming your thigh, it can help to really focus the movement in the foot, toes and ankle. And now you've got the floor to kind of push into a bit more. And from there, we're going to turn it into a circular movement. So from the top of your foot, start to roll to the outside edge of your foot, pressing it towards the mat. Push out through your heel. See if you can find the inside edge of your foot on the mat, and then rolling back onto the top of your foot. So you're circling around through the ankle, and at the same time, you're getting loads of movement through the bones and musculature of your toes. You can change direction, both directions. You can go quite lightly, or if it feels good, you could really be pressing your foot into the mat to get some more movement there. Okay, so that is your first side foot smush. reaching out, toes tucked under, and already this could be quite uncomfortable, so going gently as you need to, just seeing how it feels to find that roll over onto the top of the foot, keeping the legs straight, and then pushing out through the heel. Just can we make this just a very comfortable part of our movement vocabulary almost, that our feet can roll right over and have this amount of pliability through the toes. And then we'll make it a circle, rolling onto the outside edge of the foot, pushing out through the heel, inside edge of the foot, and rolling back onto the top of the foot. So trying a few of those, ankle joining in a few more ways. You can change direction, go both directions. And this is just a great thing to add into your movement practice, your yoga. Just always giving the ankles and the feet a little bit of extra movement than you might. And having feet that can move in this way and be more pliable will just make the proprioception system stronger, so your brain will get much more feedback from your feet and ankles and start to support you more in balance. Let's pull that leg in, tuck both your toes under, slide hands towards your knees, and if this position isn't comfortable for your knees, keep the hands flat on the floor and just see how it feels to lift your knees up and down with your hips up. So you're pressing into that hinge at the base of the toes again. So that's the option if having really bent knees doesn't feel so comfortable. If it feels fine on your knees, start to roll yourself back into a little squat and then roll the knees back down to the mat, really recreating that hinge at the base of your toes again. You can even separate out your little toe a bit to see if that can join in a bit more. And just for a few goes, rolling forwards and backwards. So we're feeling that hinge, the base of the toes, the sole of the foot stretching, and how that connects to the whole lower chain of the body. And after a while, you soon start to notice some more intense sensations. And then if it feels fine, slide your fingertips closer towards you, bring your body more upright and see how it feels just to rest on your tiptoes there. You'll probably feel your feet doing these tiny little adjustments and movements and into your ankles to keep you balanced. So this is just working all those tiny muscles of your feet and ankles, making them stronger, getting that coordination. You might even feel muscles up into your shins. So just sitting there for a little while, letting your feet do their thing. And then you could bring your hands back to the mat and make your way back to standing up. Or you could have a go at staying on your tiptoes and standing all the way up from there. Staying up on your tiptoes as long as you can. See if you can find your balance once you get up to standing. And then slowly bringing your heels down. Okay, one more thing to work on: intrinsic foot strength and ankle strength. So we want all the muscles in the foot to really be able to coordinate and offer us lots of support from our base. Because obviously when we're standing, our feet are the only part of the body in contact with the ground. So do use a wall or a chair. You can take the balance out for a moment while you focus on developing strength, even though this is something that helps with balance. So you could have your hand on a chair or a wall, and then from there we're going to come up onto tiptoes again, as high as you can go. We've practiced that feeling of hinging now in the toes, so seeing how it feels to lift up your heels as high as you can, and then bring the heels down as slowly as you can. It might be helpful to feel into the ball of your big toe, into the inner edge of the heel. So just finding a slow rhythm up and down. The slower you go will work the muscles more. If it feels possible, you could make it into a balance without holding on to anything. Notice if a sense of fatigue in the feet starts to come in, which is a good sign that you're working all those muscles. And that that slow control of the heels down is really getting them to work well. Okay, take a little breather. Notice if you felt that anywhere else in your legs. And then we'll add a slightly more challenging version where we're just going to do that with one leg. So picking up one leg and just hold your foot up behind you. And then again, going up onto the tiptoes, just on one leg. A slow control down with the heel. Feeling the connection of the toes, foot and ankle to the rest of the leg. You might even feel this further up the leg. Okay, swapping sides, last one. So 3 of these might be enough if you've not done them before. If it feels fine, you could start with 5, build up to 8, build up to 10. So just see how it goes without overdoing, but see if you can get to the point of feeling some fatigue in that foot. So other side, slowly coming up onto tiptoes as high as you can, slowly lowering down with control. Just keeping your breathing going, some awareness there that you're not holding your breath. High as you can and lowering down. Just noticing any sensations or feedback from your calf, maybe up into the back of your thigh, the sole of the foot, the toes, and then coming back down. So let's finish today just coming up onto tiptoes and down again, feeling into your feet, your toes, your ankles. And these are just a few exercises that really help to build strength, build our awareness of our feet and ankles, find more pliability. So you can add those into your yoga practice or just your daily movements and see how that goes.